Yeah, anyway, hi. Welcome to another week of the podcast that is not called Chat. And should be, but for some reason isn't called literally Prince the podcast. Where Anca, who's also here, and me Shalama, Anca Stasia and Shalama underscore do the talking about stuff from last week and also from life and things and from stuff we've learned about and other crap too. Yeah. Hello, welcome. We do this live on twitch.tv/Ancastasia, but this eventually somehow also makes it to YouTube. We don't know how. Magical elves do it, which means they ask Anka to do it because actually she does it. But hi,
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it one day.
yeah, it's magic.
We do have 2 episodes up there so far, but in reality, we've been doing. Is this the 7th now or the 6th? Somewhere there, somewhere between 6 and 7.
Yeah, we've actually managed to stay quite consistent. We are like more than 1.5 months in. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm trying to make this my routine, even though sometimes I hate it.
Oh, they have gotten better despite you hating it sometimes, you know?
I mean, is it possible to have routines without hating them?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
I like going to the gym, but it's a hard routine to keep up sometimes because of like mental stuff, because it depends on how you mentally deal with it. And I know why I have problems with it, but it doesn't mean that I can easily fix it. Because I say I learned today before I went to the gym, or was it yesterday, but doesn't really matter, that consistency is more important than how you perform, because someone that goes to the gym for 3 years consistently will eventually make more gains than somebody that goes to the gym inconsistently but works hard when he does, because that's bad. So keeping at something over time has higher returns than just doing something whenever because you can't get yourself to do it.
Yeah, I know that lesson in principle, but in
Yeah,
practice,
same.
it's like
Yeah, I also
it's very easy to be like, well, unless I keep this up every single time, then it's still not enough, or like unless I perform a certain amount of stuff, it's not enough. It's hard.
Yeah, I understand, but that's what I mean with in theory. I also know this, and but you basically have to keep yourself refreshed. You basically have to keep yourself doing it, thinking about it. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's discipline. That's the shit thing. All in life comes down to willpower and discipline, which are the hardest things to learn and have. And barely anybody tells you. Like, he'll say you should do this and you should do that, and if I think a lot of it just comes down to if your parents didn't give you those things and just taught you to go to a thing because you should go to the thing, then you have to learn that at some point and potentially very late, which I had to do very late because I had no discipline given to me when I was a child.
Same, weirdly. I had very much like my parents were very protective, but at the same time, they didn't really teach me any sort of like discipline or involve me in like chores or teach me how to learn properly or anything. I just kind of existed, but I was just supposed to exist within some very strict limits that had nothing to do with like actually developing yourself as a person.
Yeah, I think I didn't have the limits. I got a lot of social intelligence because my mom is really good at social stuff and she's really good at taking care of kids and things like that. But the issue is that she never was good at giving discipline and structure. So that's why I just didn't have that. You know, I
Yeah.
guess some people attribute it more to like the parental father role, kind of that the dad is going to take you to soccer practice and he's going to throw balls with you on the park or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily a dad thing, but yeah, my mom definitely didn't really do that. Neither did my grandparents, because I grew up with them. And then my dad, my parents got divorced when I was an infant or something. And then they got back together when I was like of school age. My dad also didn't really know how to like set a model for discipline, although he did want me to kind of like jump on the, I don't know, be a really good student train and teach me stuff for that and whatever. But I don't know. It was just very chaotic how it all happened.
But this is actually a very good segue. And our first thing that we have on our docket, that is a callback to last week,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
me learning Japanese and not doing it because I thought the icon for the app on my phone slowly became more sad and depressed and shriveled up because the owl was sad that I didn't learn.
You thought that Duo cared about you personally?
Yeah, and that the app icon was responding to how little I used the app because I was busy and couldn't learn Japanese.
Oh,
Or I just didn't feel like
oh,
it. So
Shalama.
it's-
The Duo doesn't revolve around you.
well, it gives me a lot of daily, sometimes 2 a day notifications about how it wouldn't be so sad. It would be so sad if I lost my streak, and how it's so mainstream to give up on learning. Apparently, oh hi, this is Lily. Do let me know that you didn't do your Japanese, and giving up on learning Japanese is so mainstream. That's the one I got today.
That's so silly.
It is. Yeah, but we found like literally that day on social media, people were posting about it, and everybody had noticed it somehow. Suddenly, it came up, and that week they just changed the app symbol to guilt trip people into learning. Like everybody, not just me, everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have it on my phone anymore, so I didn't see that. But yeah, it's kind of funny that that it was just a mass rollout, that it wasn't really related to anything.
Yeah, it's just a marketing shit thing that they did.
But was it related to April Fools?
No, I think not, because it stayed way too long. Unless it was a really bad April Fools. I didn't notice it on April Fools. Um, I think it was around for like a week at the point that I noticed it, maybe, or like a little less than that.
Wait, did it change back then?
No, it's not changed back. It's still the same. Like I saw it when I was on the toilet today, and I looked at my phone.
In the toilet, like inside the toilet bowl?
No
Or?
toilet. Everybody sits on the toilet and looks on their phone now. That's the thing to do. Okay.
Sure, I do
Normal.
the same thing. I don't deny it. I just don't go in the toilet.
We're a bunch of toilet scrollers.
Toilet scrollers. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but we've learned that. Otherwise, how have you been? How was your week? Anything happen? Anything new? Learn anything new?
Well, today I had this. I was watching a stream about the latest news about the federal games funding in Germany for games, just indie games. Well, it doesn't matter if it's indie games or like AAA. Although they kind of want to make the distinction. Basically that's kind of the topic on my brain today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about that?
Well, they did a Twitch stream where this representative of this like network in Germany that kind of tries to like breach the gap between game developers and politicians. Like this guy had an interview with like a, I don't know what he was, like a minister, state secretary guy from I guess Ministry of Economics. And they were talking about something that we've been all just fucking dying waiting on, which is, okay, what are the changes that are going to be done to this federal funding, which has been gone for a year and a half now. And at least for my company, that massively has been fucking us over because we were kind of counting on it. I think I've been ranting about this every other week.
I recall. Yes, I remember. Now that you say it.
Yeah. Well, because it's a really annoying thing to me. Like and the interview basically they want to make some changes, which I'm kind of concerned about. First of all, they still don't know. Like they said that for the next 3 years they have a budget of 100 million for
Jesus.
for all the
For what?
for all the games that would apply. So they have this at their disposal to dish out.
That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah, sure. for the entire country.
How many people get that money, I guess?
Well, how it used to be was that you could just apply if your required sum was like, or if your project's value, budget, whatever, was supposed to be like over 200,000. I think it used to be the limit. And people usually just got it. There were a lot of games that were funded that way, like by 50% you would get money from the government and 50% you would have to bring some from the outside. So you still had to like either self-fund or have that half covered by a publisher. Thank you for the raid, by the way, Juicy.
Oh, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
But how much money are we talking that a dev would get? Like 50% of the entire cost?
Yeah.
Is it what you said?
Yeah. So like if you want to produce a game for like 500,000 euros, they would give you 250,000.
I guess that's pretty good, but you still have to find like 250,000 euros in funding somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah, which is still pretty tricky, but at least this is, this makes it easier for a publisher to be like, okay, we can shoulder the rest instead of like the whole thing. And it also is nice because you have to return less money. Like this funding was non-refundable from the government.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that it was kind of quote unquote free funding.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's still the case with like what they're planning. The problem is that it's been already 4 months and we don't know for this year when they will start giving money again, under which conditions. Like they're supposed to give out 33 million each year for the next 3 years. But they still don't, like they're still discussing terms, like what are the conditions for this kind of program now, because they not only do they want to bring it back, but they also want to kind of overhaul it. The like reasoning that they want to make it more reliable, that the funding is not going to vanish again.
Oh god, that sounds like restructuring, and knowing German bureaucracy, that might delay it kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, like I am still, like I've been still ranting at people that I don't think that this year they will actually give out any money, or at least that it's not going to be realistic for any studio to apply for this, because we don't even know the conditions to create the application, especially if a lot of things are going to change compared to previous years. So you need a few months just to make the application and go through their review process. And yeah, that's like literally if they decide at the end of the year, okay, we're finally taking applications, then realistically you're just gonna get it next year, like in the middle of next year or something.
Oof. Yeah, that's so. I don't know how you're supposed to run a business with such unreliable funding situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everybody's complaining about. And they also now are introducing, like, hopefully they're saying they want to make it easier to apply, but I mean, that it remains to be seen. Yeah. But they also want to make a harder cut. Like they say now that your budget needs to be at least 400,000. Or at least this is their draft version of like the regulation. They've not decided all of this, because that would be too soon, I guess, to have already decided something. I
mean, I don't want to be too cynical, because somehow I'm more educated on it right now. Like I don't really keep within the knowledge of German politics a lot, because I find it really exhausting. And Germany is probably a lot of countries are, but our government is such a clusterfuck sometimes. But this current government has actually been pretty good at doing progressive choices. Like there are some massive progressive choices they've made in the law department that have just come through.
You mean the weed, decriminalization?
No, actually, I mean, that is a big thing. It frees up a lot of stuff. A lot of people no longer get pursued for something that shouldn't be that severe, like a lot of charges got dropped as soon as that law passed, the regulation was passed. But what I mean is that there's abortion law, like the abortion stuff was made easier, like that was made more fair.
Oh,
I don't know this. I sadly I don't know the specifics on what actually was done, but people were very happy about the changes. And there is a new thing that is currently being handled. That is what would you call it in English? Like Selbstbestimmung, like more control over your identity gender wise. Like we are progressing there too, that people will have more freedom in expressing their gender without having to do like insane bureaucratic bullshit. There's movement in that, and people have responded to that very well. And it seems like the current government is kind of pretty progressive and nice. So that's why I'm kind of still I try to reserve a little bit of optimism.
hmm.
Yeah, and gender expression, basically making it easier, and that's why I'm like, there are people in there that feel like they want to make stuff actually better.
Was this the thing about like being able to write your pronouns and your ID or something like this?
I would have to research that better.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be hopeful too. Like there these are all good signs, and I mean, it's they clearly want to give out this money, but it's just such a slow process. And I'm just personally like I'm just kind of really drained of like trying to keep up
Mhm.
morale and trying to do like something well, just like what we started out to do. Like I'm just feeling more and more like even before really making a career in the games industry, I like at least like shipping one game, I'm already kind of fed up with this whole thing. Like I don't think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about how they want to make Germany a more competitive on the international games market, and to retain game IP to like inside Germany and stuff like that, and be like have funding that other countries like France has, that like they have better programs for supporting devs. They want to do stuff like introducing tax incentive programs too for like bigger companies, which sounds interesting. But yeah, the weird thing is that they want to make the separation between like federal funding and like regional funding, because in Germany all the states kind of have their own, or like most of them have their own kind of games funding. So, but there's a problem there because not all have that stuff, and not all have like funding for every stage of the development, basically.
Hmm.
Like in Hamburg here, like there is no production funding for games. You have a fund for like starting out, like an incubator thing where you just get trained and get a lot of workshops and a bit of money. Then you get a fund for making a prototype. And after that, there's nothing. Like there's no production funding where you could get like, I don't know, a few $100,000 so you could actually produce something like significant. After that, you're supposed to go to the federal fund. Other states have the entire like they have the entire process covered by fundings. And it used to also be that you could combine the state, the like local fund and the federal fund. Now they want to not allow the accumulation anymore. And they also wanted to have all the states offer production funding, so that if you're a small title under 400,000 in budget, you have to get it from the regional funding, and if you're larger, you can get it from the federal funding. And that's a problem because then the states also have to make sure that they have those funds available and set up, and then that means the federal fund is not even for games that are, or like teams that are smaller in scope. They're just like this thing where unless you're a certain size, don't bother. It's weird. Yeah, like it just is a little weird. I don't know why they're doing this or why they think that this is helping.
Yeah, that again just sounds like the German politics side of it's not thought out enough. It's not helpful enough.
Yeah, like the thing I did like was the fact that they said that they also want to make some kind of like transparent process of seeing how much money is left in the pot. Like, you usually wouldn't know if they still have funds anymore to give out that year until they ran out, but now they actually want to make it public how much money is still available at any given point, which I guess is nice, sort of.
Yeah, I mean,
But
at least you know that if you can expect anything anymore. Then, but
yeah.
it takes so long that I wouldn't know if it could update in real time. You know?
Yeah, and also it's like it's also taking you as a studio a month or two to even prepare the documents that they probably want. So maybe it looks optimistic when you start, but then by the time you're halfway through, maybe so many projects get greenlit that you're like, okay, I did this for nothing. Now there's nothing left. So I'm not sure how helpful it really is.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how good it comes out. But I also hope that it doesn't take too long to get that figured out. At least it's not. I feel like it should be easier for them to sort out because it's not as politically charged as all the other things that are recently happening. It's not going to be like a giant amount of partying against that. Like, I mean, campaigning against it. I feel like,
Maybe not, but it's still about giving money to something, and
yeah,
people are still going to complain that their field deserves the funding more than this.
yeah.
Yeah, like I don't even know. At this point, I often feel like do politicians and do people at large really think that developing games is worthy of support? Like this industry has been just plagued with people crunching and being abused and being paid little, and it's like I don't know, it just seems like nobody really cares or
I mean, that's
thinks nobody really thinks these people deserve
yeah.
a good life or whatever. I don't
I
know.
think there was the British studio recently. The people that make like video game documentaries. I forgot their name for now. They made a documentary about Final Fantasy 14 that might have been their biggest one. And they were going through this entire like making a game thing, trying to contact publishers. And then I've also seen other people saying similar things to what they had said, which was that it's the hardest it's ever been
Yeah,
to
I
find
think you
a
sent me
publisher as
that.
well.
I think you sent me that
Yeah.
documentary and I watched it too. And yeah, it is a really bad time right now, like in the recession we're in.
Though Germany allegedly inflation has declined here, energy prices have gone down too, allegedly. Like recently it's improved again. But I would have to see the relation. Like how is it relative to how it's been for the past few years? Has it gone down to a level where it feels like, oh, this is good again, or is it just, yeah, this is slightly less shit than it was? Still shit though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
Hopefully it makes a difference. But yeah, it's like it's just weird because in Germany, like they kind of combine things in a weird way. Like I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be that the games, like rather the people that were overseeing what happens to games funds and stuff like that were the same people from the Ministry of Transportation, which doesn't make any freaking sense. And then they changed it to the what is that other ministry? Wait, I gotta look this up. Yeah, they changed it to the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action. So games right now is the combination of economic affairs and climate action. I mean,
yeah,
okay, but it should also be maybe something to do with culture, maybe. I don't know, like
it reminds me of the time when Ursula von der Leyen, which used to be our minister for family and stuff, like social stuff and family, she became the person in charge of the military in the government at some point. Which it was like, why? How is that similar? How are those qualifications similar? How does she now suddenly have responsibilities over like regulatory stuff or whatever funding stuff for the military? I don't know.
hmm,
But I think that's what it was, that she for some reason, she became in charge of the Bundeswehr.
that's
It's
so
kinda weird.
weird.
Yeah, it's kinda weird. Yeah. Well, I hope they figure that out. I do have an update, though, by the way. I did multitask somehow. I caught my brain from becoming ADHD and unfocused, and I could listen and check this. I can update on the Selbstbestimmungsgesetz.
Mm.
So it's a change for the gender entry that is made easier. There's like a few things, but one of them is that if you're 14, now you can go to the notified body yourself and change your first name, I think, and your gender in your documentation.
That's
You
pretty
just
cool.
need you just need like a letter from your guardian, your legal guardian, because you're still a child, that it's okay. Still a thing, of course, where you need probably like consultations and stuff. And there's supposed to be more protection for those things too, like more against discrimination and things like that. But you can basically do that, and your legal guardian cannot change your gender or your name for you without your consent if you're 14. They cannot just go to the state and be like, my child is a girl now, even though it was a boy previously,
Mm-hmm.
or change their name. And that's now harder to do. Like that's now not possible without the child also consenting to it. Stuff like that, for example, was changed.
Yeah, that's really nice. That is very progressive. That's true.
Yeah, and you can also just have no gender entry now, I think, or just be diverse in gender in your entry. I don't think they will do a thing of having like a lot of custom entries. It seems like from what I've seen just now, like the official Bundestag website, which is like our government parliament kind of thingy, that it seems like there's just four options, which is male, female, diverse, and nothing,
Hmm.
I think.
To be honest, I also struggle with anything else that is outside of those four because it's just
Yeah. I think
really
it's impossible
confusing.
to keep up to date, probably. I think that would probably be impossible to keep up to date and not have become outdated easily. So, I mean, that's probably the safest choice. But it's very progressive, and the fucking right wing nuts are trying to go against it, and it was still passed with a
Oh,
majority. So, and that's, with the weed stuff, there's like giant assholes in the Conservative Party. At the Oktoberfest, you cannot smoke weed. That's outrageous. Kids should not have to see people smoke weed. And they should drink a beer with their parents,
oh my
because
God. The self delusion.
there's in Bavaria, there's a begleitetes Trinken, which is like guided drinking, where you can go with a 14-year-old, I think, and they can drink alcohol if they're with an adult.
Oh, well, isn't that lovely?
Yeah, it's like you can bring your 14-year-old Justin, and you can just have him get shit-faced with beer because they're with their parent. But God forbid someone smokes the weeds somewhere outside, because
The
then they
weeds.
will hail
Maybe
Satan.
they shouldn't smoke all the weeds. But did you call
Maybe
the
not.
kid Justin?
Yeah, because that's like the German names that you give kids if you want to be rude. Say, people give that. Yeah, there used to be, I don't know what they called, but when I grew up, comedians would do the jokes of the young Justin or Chantal. That would be the names they would give kids,
What the hell? That's like
the awful
the
kids.
English names specifically.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
It has something to do with the Justin, maybe from Justin Timberlake and Bieber, something like that, because the young parents giving names of stuff they thought was cool. I don't really know.
I don't know anybody at all, but especially any German that has the name Justin.
I've known Justins, yeah, and it was indeed one of the most popular names at some point.
But do they say Justin or like Justine or something?
No, they say Justin. It is Justin.
Okay, because I was wondering if they Germanized it.
I'm sure that some people never heard the name spoken in English and they call it their kid Justine. I'm sure.
Yeah, well,
I can in the 1990s and then in the 2000s, the name Justin was very popular, basically, and that's why you had a lot of kids that were like 10 years old and that were called Justin, and probably a lot of Justins right now that have finished university.
must really have been
Cool.
related to Justin Timberlake. I really feel like
Possible.
that must have been it.
He was huge in Germany.
But what about
So, I
Britney
guess.
then?
I don't know. I there probably were a bunch of Britneys, but Chantal, Desiree were names that were more popular, I think.
My God, I made the mistake of looking at my server and my
Mhm.
Discord, and related to the Duolingo thing, Bart posted a screenshot of the really exhausted, depressed Duolingo icon. And then Piz said would, which I'm assuming is a shortened form of would hit that.
Yes, it is.
Oh
Yes, it is.
dear.
Yes. Well, no,
I'm
it isn't. It's
closing that.
totally innocent, and we are just changing topic right now. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. We're
um,
talking about. Okay, what's the next topic here? Returning to what?
there's one thing that's very personal, but I found interesting, and then there's a thing that people might not have heard about, but it kind of affects everybody in a way. And
Well, you wanna elaborate?
sure, I'll need to do a little explanation. Some people might know, like, imagine 12-year-old Salami, 12-year-old
Justin.
Shalama. Uh, it's specifically me. I only know one other German person that has experienced this probably at a similar time. So they might be in chat, they might not be. But I used to play Ragnarok Online. It was my first MMO where you paid money, you were on servers. I had to beg my mom to pay my subscription of $12 a month so I could play an MMO where so many people online and you can grind and you get gear and it's meaningful and you can get status and stuff and you can get guilds
Nice
and
that
you
Shamama paid for Shalama. Little
yeah,
Shalama.
that's she enabled that stuff, which meant a lot. I don't know what I would have done if she didn't, honestly. Like I used to play on private servers. Obviously, that was a choice, but it is never the same. Also, because they might just vanish at some point and everything is gone. And because they're illegal. And once the devs find out, they're going to sue them and they're going to get a cease and desist, and then they're gone. You know, that happens. And I used to play Ragnarok Online, the European version. They had like a different. It was called Euro, Euro. The Korean one is K-Ro. That's the one that's still going, I think, because it's a Korean MMO.
Oh,
And
because
then
RO is for Ragnarok Online. I get it.
exactly, and then you had Iro, which was international, but that was actually the American one.
This was before the actual Euro coin, wasn't it?
Yeah, kinda. I think
Or what?
kinda. It was earlier than that. Yeah, it was for Europe. It didn't have any relation. I'm pretty sure. But I used to play the crap out of that, and then at some point I just stopped. And I'm fairly sure that Canadians also played on Iro, but sure, Zero, who is a community member that sometimes shows up around places. Yeah, Uncle Iro, but I played on Euro, and I made one of my first online friends that was a very long time friend that sometimes shows up in my streams from Finland. A shout out to
Oh,
to,
you
to
have
her.
a friend since you were 12? That's insane.
Well, probably my longest friend that I know over the internet that I'm still vaguely in contact with. I'm terrible at keeping in contact with people though. But
You seem better at me. I do not have a single friend that I know for that long that I keep in touch with.
well, I have friends that I've known since I was like 16, 17 that I sometimes meet in real life.
Yeah, I don't
But
even
there's
have that. Like when I left Romania, I cut
mhm,
ties with everybody there. And also I
jeez.
just cut ties with everybody that I used to keep in touch with at the time. Like I guess
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I've reinvented myself.
Well, yesterday I met a friend that I hadn't seen in months because he lives in the same building and we somehow still managed to not see each other for months. We could not see each other for a year, and I'm sure we have, despite living in the same building. And he suddenly DM'd me on Steam because he was like, I do you have an HDMI something cable? I don't really know what I need." So I talked him through his problem, and he needed a monitor cable with specifics because yeah, still DVI, I believe.
Well, that's
He actually
cute. That's
has my
cute. You
old
just
graphics card.
just
Yeah.
just go up to your friend and get cabled up.
Well, he messaged me and I was like, I'll look. I usually have spare cables around just for, safety. And he came up and I gave him the cable and I saw him again. Then that's the interaction we had.
Yeah, and if
That's,
you said that you don't have one, he knows where you live, so you're fucked.
yeah, I know. But I guess sometimes I see him when I go get groceries, but very rarely. He never shops when I shop somehow. And when I do my laundry in the laundry room, sometimes see him. Very rarely as well, though. We just say hi. It's a
Honestly, I
very
would
doomed
hate it.
relationship.
I would hate it if I lived in the same building as a friend of mine and I saw that person all the time. Like I would be like, oh my god,
But it's
I need
so
to
rare
move.
that I forget that he's there. I legitimately forget that he's even there sometimes.
That's the
There's times
best
when we
way, I think.
play. Hmm?
That's the best way, I think, because then if you still want to keep in touch or if you still want to meet, you could do that. But it's not like it's forced upon you.
No, that's true. Well, but sometimes we play World of Warcraft. Like when the World of Warcraft Classic came out, that's when all my friends suddenly came, and we all, for the first time, experienced what it would have been like if we had all known each other and played World of Warcraft together when it came out, which we didn't know about each other back.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
that was really nice. We all leveled to 60 and we raided, and one of my buddies shared his maybe or maybe not had someone else play his account too because they shared because one of them is too busy to play too much, and because strictly speaking that's not allowed. But joint ownership maybe, but yeah, that happens,
Wait,
or we play Path of
Shalama.
Exile.
Shalama,
Yes.
do you want to say something about joint ownership?
No, no,
No? You
no,
sure? You sure?
no, I'm sure.
Oh, okay,
Yes, I'm
okay.
sure.
All right.
Also, unrelated to that,
Forget I
maybe,
mentioned it.
unless Anca is too tired when she's back from Bavaria, where she's going to maybe receive a prize for her video game.
Oh god, I need to actually announce in my server maybe like where people can watch the stream.
Yes. And it will be irrelevant when you listen to this podcast on YouTube. But if you're live here, tomorrow there's a German game show that you probably will not understand a single word of, but I might restream it and translate every single word.
Oh, you're gonna
And
restream it?
I might,
You
to
might.
see if Anka gets the big prize
Yeah,
of a
doubt,
bag
but
with
you know.
1,000 marbles in it, and they are gonna toss it on the floor and watch Anka go off stage. That's what we do in German.
Why did nobody warn me about this before I accepted to
It's
go
like
and
with the
everything?
Nickelodeon kids movie awards where they put goo on the movie stars. Instead, they do marbles, and it's much more hazardous because Germany, it doesn't have a sense of humor.
Speaking of weird things to do on stage, I saw a clip from last year of the ceremony, like of the awards for this show, and the
Yeah,
moderators were so fucking cringe, man.
yeah, that's
Like
all of them.
like
That's Germany.
they had like one team, actually it was the team, a team that we know from Hamburg, who won this award for the best prototype last year, and they went up to on stage and they said their thanks, and then the moderators were like, ah yeah, so like, are you guys excited or something? And they were like, yeah, let's cheer together, let's count down 3 2 1, and they did a jubeln. They told them do a jubeln, and I'm like, God, how are you so cringe?
Yes, they are. Yeah, they are very,
Uh,
very cringe.
and I guess like the team did it because obviously what are you gonna do? And they were
Yeah,
fine, but it's just like, God, what is Asian people?
yeah. The fun thing is that a lot of these awards, I know the hosts, and a lot of them live in Hamburg.
They do?
Yeah. Well, if it's Booty or Simon from the Game One thing that I grew up with, I don't even know their friggin' names, but
No,
they are
it's
like the
not
biggest.
Daniel Budiman. It's somebody else who this there's like two people, some woman that I don't know at all, and then this other guy that just has like curly hair. Actually, I don't know the names of either. Never
The
mind.
names would be more helpful than a
Yeah,
description of their appearance.
I can look up their names real quick. Just give
Yeah.
me a second.
Yeah. Maybe I should actually finish what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but now
German.
it's about the moderators. Look,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
important.
Yeah. Just remember that I used to play Ragnarok Online, and I went back like a year ago or so to check and saw that the servers were off. They were gone. My stuff was gone. Returned to it like a few years ago on the new servers they had. And I reached max level, which was like leveling 250 levels.
Wait, can I tell you? Can I tell you the
Yeah,
names? So one of them
do
is
it.
called Katrin Bauerfeind.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. That
yeah,
says something, yes.
yeah, okay. And the other one, I don't know because this person has the first name Uke, and their handle is Bob God. Who the hell is this
Yeah,
person?
they exist. on Twitter.
Yeah. But like I don't know what his last name is. Uke Bosse.
Yeah, I recognize this person, but I don't really know anything about this person for some reason. And the Bauerfeind, I think that's someone my mom does not like.
Wow, great.
Oh yeah, Uke Bosse, I think is just no, I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's just German people, media people. They don't matter. Um
Wow. Wow, Jesus.
I hate I have
Destroyed.
a hate love relationship with German media. Some of them I like, but a lot of them are just one trick ponies that keep beating a dead horse with their jokes and with their stuff they do. And few of them actually end up being something that feels like they keep working themselves into different situations. They do new things. They just don't do the same thing over and over. Like there's a German comedian that always wears like a knitted vest, and that's been his thing for 30 years. He always looks just like he inherited that from his grandfather. And his whole shtick is that he kind of seems like someone that used to live in Eastern Germany.
That's his persona.
Kinda.
The vest
I mean,
guy.
he's kind of funny sometimes, but his whole like visual appearance is based on this thing that hasn't changed in like what seems like 30 years. I don't know. I've never seen him in anything else. It's always the same weird knitted vest.
Yeah, I mean, where does brand identity, how far should that go, you know? Like,
Yeah, I know. But a lot of German comedy feels like it's just a repeat of a repeat of a repeat, and it doesn't really innovate. There's material that I've seen from some stand-up comedians that 10 years later they repeat the same jokes, and it feels like, yeah, I used to love stand-up, and then I watched it on TV a lot, and I saw them go to comedy clubs that were like shows that are comedy club, like same in Britain has that, America has that, where there's comedy shows that get transmitted, get filmed in comedy clubs and then shown as like a weekly show. There's like people doing stand up for like 10 minutes and it's different people coming on and that's like half an hour. You see three people do a little bit of stuff. Yeah, but on TV they're not filmed as specials, but Netflix does specials now, I guess. Maybe people don't do that show stuff anymore. But you see 10 years later and you still hear the same joke you heard 10 years ago. And for me, I mean, for many people, it's probably they point and they go, "Oh, I recognize that. That's funny because I know it." For me, it's, oh no, they still couldn't think of anything better. It's
oh,
boring.
it's like the Yogscast. No, I'm joking.
Simon didn't used to joke nearly as much about cum back in the day. So at least that's there. At
Oh,
least that's
so he is an innovator.
yeah. He doesn't sing Diggy Diggy Hole anymore either. But yeah, can I finish my
Yeah, I wanted to figure out the way to go back on rails.
It's fine. We can just do it the hard way. Yeah, I used to play Ragnarok Online. Then last year I found a project that was basically they just finished enough of it. It was a solo project by one dude, one married dude with a it turns out very supportive wife that really told him to keep trying to do his dreams. And he dreamed of using the framework of this game and all the maps and stuff and altering it in a way to tell a different story from what Ragnarok Online originally was. So
What?
recreating all there was nothing. The game used to have jobs, like you chose a class, like you're a hunter. You start out as an archer. You can become a bard, or you become a hunter. Bards do music to buff people and stuff, but hunters they get a falcon as a pet, and later they can get a wolf to ride on and fight with them and stuff like that.
And they were bound
And
to these jobs?
yeah, when you make your character, you start out as a novice, then you get into your first job, your base job, and then you get into the advanced job, but you're stuck in that. So you make a new character if you want to play something else. It's not like Final Fantasy 14 where one character does everything. It's more classic than that. It was very hardcore because Korean MMOs have a reputation also for being very grindy. And he changed a lot of it. He basically scrapped the entire system of progression in the game and made everything new. He made new skills with effects that haven't been in the game before. He created new effects. He changed effects that were in the game. Monsters were introduced that haven't been there before. The whole layout of every area where monsters are was more streamlined and changed as well. He made an entire story arc. The way you spawn in is different. You used to just be a novice that came into the world and he joined a guild basically. And then you joined the advanced guild to become a hunter or a priest or something like that. And in this game, you are an orphan and you try to make life happen for yourself and you become all kinds of different things. You join basically schools of thought to gain their abilities and stuff like that. You can get power over ghosts that you fight with and all kinds of wacky stuff. But it was very fun. Had a nice gear progression system, nice fun. It was just different, and for a lot of people, it actually caught on and they played it because it was like a reinvigoration of the childhood thing they might have played.
But
Was something new for them.
I don't get what he still kept then if he changed so many things, like just like
The
the
assets of the world and a lot of character assets,
Mhm.
a lot of sprites were kept because it's just too much work probably. A lot of sound effects, but like everything else was changed. None of the original like progression in the game persisted. That was all scrapped.
Sounds like a lot of work.
A
Jesus.
lot of work, and he did it all by himself apparently. And later on, he had a bit of help. Then he needed funding for the servers. He actually released a full release server with permanent progression, and then was still working on adding more content on to finish the story. But then I looked at it because I was like, last week, oh, maybe I actually would like to revisit that now that it's fully released and there's maybe more people playing it. And I am in this mood sometimes where I need a comfort food game that I'm very used to, like World of Warcraft is the usual go to, Final Fantasy 14, games that you can play to just feel like when you're stressed and stuff is uncertain, this stuff gives you balance kind of deal. I don't know, it's comfort.
Yeah, I get that.
It's like rewatching Seinfeld for the millionth time or something. People rewatching The Office apparently a lot, stuff like that.
Like the only thing I have that's like that is kind of like Twin Peaks right now.
Well, we were doing that, yeah, every Saturday. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I checked out the Discord. You have to be in the Discord to get the files to join the server. It's otherwise not possible. And the guy had shut it down entirely,
What?
it turned out. Yeah. It's entirely shut down. The project is gone. It will never come back. And I had to defrazzle bunch of information to find out what happened. And it turns out, for some reason, people people are just shit. Some people cannot have nice things, and they don't deserve them because a group of like 5 people or so that were part of the community took up a campaign because it was funny to them to dox the guy that made the thing.
Come on, seriously?
Yeah. And they ended up trying very hard and managed to find out where the guy lived. And they ended up harassing his wife.
Jesus
And
Christ.
in response to that, he tried to out those people but not directly because he didn't believe in that. Like he at least tried to say there's like a group of people that are doing this. Then over time it escalated because people kept also then jumping on the bandwagon and other people supported him apparently. And it ended up in a situation of, first he was like, yeah, no, I'm going to shut this down. I cannot work on this anymore because it puts my life and my family in danger. Then it went on to, I'm going to potentially, I won't sell this. I don't like selling this. I don't want to sell this. It was his dream. This was his one thing that he wanted to make for a long time, and he did. But he ended up saying that he will make it open source at one point, and then made like an outline of the entire story that he had planned till the end, with like music that was supposed to play at different parts and assets that was supposed to be used. And then it turned further into, yeah, actually I'm gonna not make this open source, and I just deleted everything and it's gone now. You cannot have it because people were shit,
Oh man.
basically. And he had already paid for like high tier reliable servers for like a year that he couldn't get out of the contracts easily, which was run on donations, but he was still refunding every donation people had made because they couldn't get anything back for them. Like they couldn't play the game. And yeah, that's basically died. And that was all around December, kind of. People really do suck. It's weird. The weirder part is to me though that he came back like a week or two later, and late December or like early January, he made a post saying the guy's called Ornstein, like Ornstein from Dark Souls. Ornstein It was like my wife encouraged me because she hates me not being able to do what I like, and he has a new idea and he's working on a new thing. He's going to use a different framework that allows for a lot more customization. But in 14 months, there's going to be like an early access beta build that can be playable and people can
Also
come back.
for Ragnarok Online or something else?
Yeah, it's also based on, because that's what he knows, I guess. The interesting bit is that the stuff he did in the game was stuff that a lot of like private server communities said that's impossible. There's no way you actually are doing this. You must be using something that you are not disclosing. But he was able to manage to get a lot of interactions working that people thought wasn't possible to do. So he was really good at it. He did something that no other server did, apparently. Yeah, that is all gone. But weirdly enough, even though it was such a hassle, he still comes back now and will be back in like a year and a half
I mean,
with
I have no
something
idea
else.
what happened that led him to just want to totally trash that project he was working on, but now he's still being an online presence and still basically exposing himself to the same kind of harassment.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
also
it's
don't
good
fully
that he still
understand.
wants to do it. That's good. He should continue despite assholes, but it's just like if he was already doxxed, how does he protect himself moving on forward, you know?
Yeah, maybe they have found a way. Maybe they've actually taken legal action against those people and can now feel safe.
Maybe they had, maybe they moved too. Like
Yeah,
one could do that, I guess, but it would be difficult. I mean,
yeah. They seem to be well off. I think sounds like his wife is a doctor because one of the people apparently posed as a patient or something to get information and harass them. It's not entirely clear. Like the communication is not the best. I think the guy Ornstein also isn't native English. Like sometimes the language is a little flimsy, but it's mostly easy to understand. But sometimes it's like maybe there's something lost in translation potentially.
the guy
I don't know.
apparently claims that he has a full time job and has a very strict work ethic and time investment. That's why he does this stuff.
Where did you find that?
I'm just looking at his Reddit post.
Hmm. Yeah, the guy works like a horse, like a workhorse.
That's insane.
It's insane how much he works, how much he does, like how much he pushes out new updates and content from one person. That was insane. Yeah, that I like being, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I liked being a part of this, and it was a very like nice experience that it seems so rare in today's internet, where it was just a pocket of people that you wouldn't know about unless you knew where to look. Like this was very old internet stuff, but yeah, I mean, the Discord server still exists. I'm still in it. I don't know if it's open for new people to join anymore. You can, I think initially he wanted to make it possible that you can privately host the game, run around in it, and play on your own computer, but not host it on the server anymore. Yep.
Yeah, I guess it's scary to be on the internet.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. It's friggin' scary out here. I mean, there were always assholes on the, but it's just like a thousandfold now,
Just
which
so weird
coincides.
that some
Yeah.
people just want to tear others down like that for just no reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it felt like the entire motive of 4chan sometimes was, but probably still is, just to cause misery, this like chaos, annoyance for no reason.
Just because one can, I guess.
Yeah, I
Well,
think we also, yeah,
I think
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
should probably end it here because it's 8 p.m.
Hmm.
I know that you had one more topic, but I think we're going to push that one for next time.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be more stuff about that. If you want to have a sneak peek, Dubai flooding, weird. That's all I'm going to say.
Flooding. Is the
Yeah,
ocean rising?
no, it's flooding from above. Not from sea level.
Okay, well, tell us about it next week.
Yeah.